Hello and welcome to Inside the Playbook presented by Hoosier Network. Today we are breaking down this past weekend, which for some of us went exactly the way we predicted it, and for everyone else, it did not. I am the champion of the bracket so far. Fellas, how's it going?
Weekend one, Gabe. Weekend one. Okay.
Weekend, I'm number one.
It's early, Gabe. It's early.
It's
Texas
early.
A&M
Lot
might
of
have
ball.
Texas A&M screwed up my whole bracket prediction. That might have been the worst entire game of the entire weekend, in my opinion. It was
Oh man.
brutal, but the rest of the slate wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. Alabama, Oklahoma was just masterful. Just great games all across the board.
Yeah, I think the best game was probably Texas A&M
No.
Miami because at least it was close the whole time, but it was so sloppy
It was a
and
bad show.
like just not a lot of great ball, but it's still playoff mattering football, so it was still fun to watch. Um, we're at we're on winter break, so we've had some free time. I think we all got to sit down and watch most of the games at least, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was fun. I mean, at least that gives us the free time to do that. Right? But I I think the weekend in the NFL was honestly more entertaining than the college football, and it was just regular season. So I
Yeah.
yeah
So let's start from the top down and let's go James Madison or Oregon. Early reactions. I know it's not an upset, but they did make it close, 34-51, putting up 34 points against Oregon's defense. Pretty good for a group of five. Yeah, team.
Yeah, I feel like James Madison, even though they didn't win, they played a pretty good game. 34 points against one of the best defenses in the country is not terrible. I'm going to give a lot of credit to Alonzo Barrett here. He went 23 for 48 completion rate, which isn't really great, but then he had 200 yards with two touchdowns. So it's not really his fault. It's the defense's fault for giving up 51 points.
yeah. I mean, I am gonna say it did feel like Oregon walked into the second half feeling like they were already ready to be on like just be done with the game and go play Texas Tech already. Like they were destroying JMU for most of that, like the whole first half, pretty much. JMU had a little bit of missed opportunities, I think, early, but other than that, like it was a lot of just almost all Ducks early on, and then JMU showed some fight in the second half and ran up some scores a little bit. I think they won the second half significantly, didn't they?
I
Yes.
believe
Yeah,
so.
28-17 second half for JMU. So they definitely made the game look, I think, a lot closer. I think the interesting thing to note here is that JMU played a pretty good game, and Oregon still kind of just put it on them because they can just do that, and they're just these two teams are not on the same tier. Like that's just how it is.
So this brings up the real question. Should these group of five teams be in the college football playoffs instead of the BYUs, instead of Notre Dame?
I mean, I feel like it's still uh, early to be trying to rewrite the college football playlist or playoffs because we don't have the history to say, yeah, 0%, it's never going to happen. It's only been 2 years. And as we keep going along in years, these group of five teams could get better and stand more of a chance. And, James Madison, I know we said we're going to go top bottom, but I want to talk about Tulane Ole Miss a little bit because
Yeah,
in the previous episode, I said, you know what? I think James Madison is going to pull a lot closer than Tulane will to Ole Miss. And that is what happened. Tulane only put up 10 against Ole Miss. So you can see the kind of difference between these Power Five teams in that they can put up a fight. Granted, Oregon did slow down that second half,
yeah.
run more clock and stuff like that. But still, being able to put up 34 points is a good sign that maybe one day these group of five teams can make the run.
I mean, yeah, this game was indeed 41-6 at one point, which does beg the question of did Oregon just move on to the next game already at that point? Like, was the message, let's chill out a little bit, play some more backups, rotate in the guys, get rest, just make sure we can move on to the next game. And I think that's probably what happened, but overall, still good fight from JMU. I think our best chance for an upset to have happened, which is not the world we got to live in, but I think if JMU got to play Ole Miss, I think that's where maybe we would have a higher probability upset, especially with JMU can really run the ball and like I mean they put up 34 against Oregon. They can score Ole Miss does not have a good defense. They have a great offense, but all year they've relied heavily on a high-powered offense, not a great defense. I think we'll get to talk about that maybe later in the previewing of a rematch in Ole Miss Georgia, but that was a complete shootout. Like this is a team that relies heavily on scoring a lot of points, and so I think in a hypothetical world, if we got JMU versus Ole Miss, we could have had an upset, and that's why I think you should keep that because in the future, higher probability that we'll get the weaker team to be matched up against the best of the group of five teams.
Yeah, I feel like if James, like you said, if James Madison played Ole Miss, but the problem is Ole Miss didn't have Lane Kiffin. If they had Lane Kiffin, I feel like they're gonna absolutely destroy Tulane, even by more because they did. But if they have Lane Kiffin, I feel like it's just more domination from Ole Miss.
And so now let's transition to one of the craziest games to happen over the past weekend, and that is Alabama, Oklahoma.
Oh man,
Guys, Oklahoma came out hot, and it was just Oklahoma the entire way. And I'm thinking, oh man, maybe I was wrong about Alabama coming out. And then the script completely flipped. How do we feel about that?
I think the story of this game is that Oklahoma had a hot start and Alabama didn't. Alabama was slow, but once the teams adjusted to like actually playing against each other, it was just clear that Alabama was the better team. And I think this, I predicted Oklahoma. I think this might have been a miss on my part. And looking back at the like past matchup between them, sure it was in Alabama, sure Oklahoma won. The yardage total for that game, Alabama way outgained them. And I feel like Alabama came into this game feeling like we're better than them, even though we lost. And we should be able to beat them. And maybe they got too confident in that early on and then had to like fight back, which they succeeded in really quickly. I think it was 17-0, but then it was like
Yeah,
17-17, like within like that. Like it was quick.
yeah, at the half, it was 17-17.
Yeah.
During I'm not really a big John McTeer guy personally myself, but he really did impress me in that first half. He came out soaring, and Ty Simpson responded. These are two quarterbacks I'm not really high on, but they performed, and I did pick Alabama to win this game, so Alabama did get the win, which was nice.
And I think it's a tale of two John Mateers. When the game started, it
Yes.
felt like John Mateer moved past his injury, and he was
He's
absolutely
back.
slinging it. He ended the game with 300 yards and really good yardage, but his completion percentage, 26 of 41,
Not what you want
and
to
two
see.
touchdowns to one interception. It's not the best. And it just kind of feels like ever since the thumb injury, he just has not been able to throw the ball the same way, and he needs to get back to it. And hopefully, after this season, he can get either a second surgery or better rehab so he can get to where he was.
I mean, I think another big story here is Alabama, especially in that second quarter on, did a great job of getting hits on Mateer. He ended up with 19 carries for 15 yards, and that's with sacks. But that theoretically means there was 19 times where Alabama was able to land a hit on John Mateer, and I think it just rattled him enough. I think when he's like not pressured, he can deliver a throw. He's pretty accurate typically. But I remember one specific pass, like he had a touchdown that he just sailed over way over the head of a guy when he was pressured. And when he's running and throwing or being pressured, it's not the same guy that he used to be when he's in that moment. And it's a challenge. And it might actually make Oklahoma fans question if they want him to be the quarterback next year.
Yeah, we got to give all the credit in the world to that Alabama defense. They stepped up in that second half, only like giving Oklahoma 7 points. The kicker did miss two kicks at the end. You got to feel bad for the kid, but Alabama's defense really stepped up in the second half.
Yeah.
It is just a crazy, crazy turnaround that it probably hasn't been seen in the playoffs to come down from 17-0. It's, setting records in an early playoff run with the new playoff method. And now let's go on to one of the messiest games of the weekend, Miami, Texas A&M. So many missed kicks, so many missed opportunities. What happened?
I
It
think
my
it's
oh, you want to
you
rock
you,
paper?
you go. You go first. You go first.
All right. This was the worst quarterback matchup I may have ever seen in my entire life. What were both of those guys doing? Marcel Reed was just a mess out there. 237 yards doesn't look like a mess, but the two interceptions were just brutal. And Carson Beck, even though they won, he didn't play a clean game either.
He was
He
bad.
he was really bad.
Beck
He's
only had 103 yards
Yeah.
passing.
which is just
I
awful.
I mean, I think the hero of the game definitely was Miami's running game, specifically with Mark Fletcher Jr. 17 carries, 172 yards, 10 per. It felt like, especially later in that game, they finally. It took them a while to realize that if they just ran in between the tackles, they would get like 5 to 10 yards every single play. But once they realized that in the second half, it was clear Miami is the better team. But let's give a lot of credit to that Miami defensive line with starring Ruben Bain, but just a whole squad of really talented defensive linemen that really got after Marcel Reed. They rushed. They didn't really blitz. They rushed four all game. They had a few spies, sure, but they would rush four every play. They'd get home. Marcel Reed only was 25 for 39 completion. He struggled to complete passes with all the pressure in his face all game. Forced some forced two turnovers, specifically the really bad turnover at the end zone to end the game. I think that's the clear, like, you're going to point to that specific play. I think Miami was significantly better most of the game. They had three missed field goals. They didn't have those. I think this is a different story here for Miami.
Yeah, and I think it definitely goes to the credit of Miami's defense because if we look at Texas A&M at Texas a couple weeks ago, that game was more of a shootout rather than a slugfest, I would say. And it's just the credit to their defense to be able to hold this team that could be an offensive powerhouse to just 3 points.
Yeah, and also 2.5 per carry on the ground. That's an impressive holding. Where like A&M has been a pretty solid running team all season long, and they shut down anything. They made it all on Marcel Reed in the air, and that's just I don't think Marcel Reed is a good enough player to be ready for that moment right there.
Yeah, and he's still very young. He was only a sophomore this year, so he still has time to go out there and rise his draft stock next year in his junior year. In my opinion, he's not that great of a quarterback. I feel like they can find someone better out in the portal next year, but I feel like they're going to trust Marcel Reed.
Yeah, I think they're going to trust
And
their ability to develop specifically.
yeah, and Miami's going to go on to play Ohio State, and I don't think that's going to go very well for them based on this
Yeah,
performance. The tale of two teams that have missed kicks.
the same Miami can't show up in that game and win.
Yep,
Where's that game? Is that the Cotton Bowl?
yep, the Cotton
Yes,
Bowl.
it is.
Yeah, same team cannot show up in Dallas. That will end poorly.
And I think it's funny. The last episode, we were talking about what Carson Beck and what Marcel Reed is going to show up, and we got the worst of both.
Yeah.
It-
I don't think we expected to get the worst of both of them, to be honest
I
with
thought we
you.
were going to get the good Carson Beck, and that's why Miami was going to win. I didn't think they were just going to run for 10 per carry. Like, that's insane.
yeah. So let's take a look at this second round. From the top, it's Oregon, Texas Tech, Alabama, Indiana, Ole Miss, Georgia, Miami, Ohio State. So let's start at the top. Oregon, Texas Tech, probably going to be the next shootout in this round.
Yeah, Oregon Texas Tech's a really good defensive matchup. I'm very excited to see how these defenses perform in this game. And it's really going to be up to these two quarterbacks. How are these offenses going to perform in this state with these defenses? I said Oregon was going to win this game, and now it creeps closer. I'm feeling more Texas Tech a little bit. I don't know. I don't know how this one's going to go. It's going to be a toss-up in my opinion.
I'm going to hold ground on Oregon. I get that 34 against JMU might be slightly concerning. I'm going to trust that it was Dan Lanning's strategy to get up early and just be able to chill out the rest of the game. Um, I just really have a lot of faith in Dan Lanning as a coach to be able to finally like the one main criticism I think for him is that he just can't get over the big game hump that he's had. And I think right here is the moment for him to finally get a big win. I know he beat Ohio State last year, but then he got absolutely obliterated in the playoffs, so it kind of erases that memory in our mind. So just I think this was the perfect moment to finally get over a big game hump and get a big win. I think specifically I am looking for an awesome performance from Dante Moore. I feel like we haven't had that in a little bit, but he's a quarterback who is talented enough to do it. And I'm looking for him specifically to have like probably like I'm expecting a game-winning drive where Dante Moore just looks awesome and drives down the field and goes and gets a game-winning field goal or game-winning touchdown for Oregon.
I also am going to stick with my initial bracket of Oregon because it's been right so far. So we're going to keep with that. Oregon, I think, just has more offensive power than Texas Tech. I just feel like they're going to do a better job of executing against a great defense. And Texas Tech absolutely has a terrific defense. I mean, Jacob Rodriguez should have been in New York a couple weekends ago for the Heisman
Totally.
ceremony. He is incredible. He's got 117 tackles. I mean, he's just a great defensive player that Texas Tech is blessed to have.
Yeah, I mean that defense is a scary sight to see. I just think that Oregon has too high powered of an offense. They're getting their wide receivers back and healthy specifically, and I think they just have too many weapons. They can run the ball. Dante Moore's going to spread it out to his like four different targets on the field, and I think they're going to be able to get. I don't think they're going to score a ton. I just think they're going to be able to score around the 24 mark, and that's going to be enough.
Yeah, it might be like a 13-7 game. Yes.
Yeah, both of these defenses rank inside the top 10 in total defense in the entire country. Texas Tech is 3, Oregon's 8. So it's really going to be a defensive battle, in my opinion. We can see a
And
low scoring.
the other thing that Texas Tech has is David Bailey, a senior, has 13 and a half sacks on the season.
Crazy.
That is a
Man,
lot.
yeah, no, they can get after it. I think they're top five in total sacks this season. That D line is going to get after it. Rodriguez, as we've mentioned, is maybe the best defensive player in the country. I think there's an argument with Caleb Downs probably, but I think he's right up there. It's a great defense for Texas Tech. It's money well spent in the portal specifically this year. They quickly rebuilt that roster. I just I'm not like acting like I think Oregon's even another tier. Like Oregon's another tier above JMU. I think these teams are neck and neck. They're 5-4 for a reason. I just think Oregon's gonna have a slight edge.
Yeah, and that's just gonna have to wait and see almost. I mean, there's only so much predicting you can do, only so many stats you can look at, and for these two teams, the stats are so close. It's just turn on the TV, get the popcorn, and watch.
Yeah.
Now, for this next game, Alabama, Indiana,
Woo!
I think it's gonna be very heavily Indiana. That is where I'm standing. I believe that Alabama is gonna be shut down by Indiana's defense.
I also think that Alabama's defense is not Alabama's defense. Indiana's offense is way too much for Alabama's defense.
Mm,
They're gonna just destroy them. We saw Oklahoma's offense, which is really not a high-powered offense, in my opinion, put up 24 on
yeah.
this Alabama defense. So I think Indiana's offense is going to be way too much, especially if they get Omar Cooper back for this Alabama defense.
Yeah. And let's not forget the fact Alabama's offense, which is a good offense, is still completely one dimensional. They averaged 1.1 yards per carry against Oklahoma. Sure, they didn't have -3 rushing yards in this game, but I think they might against IU again. I think IU has an awesome defense. I think it might be a scenario where they do what they did in the Georgia game and they just have nothing on the ground all game. And do you trust Ty Simpson to then pass every single play and actually be able to make the plays? I don't. And I think you're going to look at a score of like, I think it's going to be somewhere like the 30 to like 10, maybe. If we're getting Alabama 10, I don't know.
It's definitely gonna be I feel like it's gonna be very reminiscent of the Georgia game in the SEC championship because that is Georgia has a great team, Indiana has a great team. I think that's the most comparable matchup they have, and I think IU is gonna win.
Yeah, I think none
So
of us are in disagreement there.
No, no, we're not.
so then the next game would be Ole Miss Georgia, and I think this is gonna be so heavily Georgia. This is almost one that you just don't have to turn on to me.
So
Yeah,
you're calling for the worst game of the day.
Yes.
Okay.
we saw these two teams play before this year. It was close. It was
Yeah,
43-55 game, but Ole Miss doesn't have Lane Kiffin, and that's the whole problem.
it's
When you
true.
don't have your head coach and you're playing a team like Georgia offensively and defensively, it's going to be Georgia all the way here.
I think what I'm going to predict here is Ole Miss to come out fired up. Like we have seen Ole Miss after Lane Kiffin now a little bit. Seems like they have a little chip. They're a little angry still. I think we're going to see them come out fired up, get an opening drive touchdown, and then Georgia's going to score 28 straight unanswered points after that and end the first half 28-7. I I am with I think both of you here. I think this is a massacre. I think it's all dogs. I'm looking at Georgia then chill out maybe a little bit in the second half, looking for a 38-10 win, and they just shut them down, get on to the next game.
Yeah, and Georgia's offense is not like absolutely explosive, but they've been hot this past couple weeks. And looking at the stats, Chambliss has 600 more passing yards, but Gunnar Stockton has four more passing touchdowns. So it's just I feel like without Lane Kiffin, this is a different game than with Lane Kiffin.
Well, one more thing to bring up: this game's in Louisiana. Or is Lane Kiffin gonna be there? Lane
He
Kiffin
could
show up?
be. He's just there in
Does
the
Lane
crowd.
Kiffin show up and wear LSU gear to this game?
That would taunt everybody, all the
He's
old Miss fans.
ultimate troll Lane Kiffin. I would not put it past him. And then I also would not put it past them to then like somehow manage to get on the field and steal Ole Miss players after they lose. Like just like grab Trinidad Chanless and he's just like an Ole Miss Tiger all of
He's
a
like,
sudden.
come on,
Or he's an
Lacey.
LSU Tiger all of a sudden.
Come on, Lacey. How are we feeling about coming to LSU?
It
Uh,
it feels like he wants some of his players to come with him.
Probably, yeah. I would assume.
yeah, and 21 rushing touchdowns out of Lacey, very impressive. 1,300 rushing yards. This game could be very competitive. It just depends on the Ole Miss team that comes out and the coaching that takes place.
Yeah, let's go. Lacey first touchdown of the game, and then 28 unanswered for the
You
Georgia
think Lacey
Bulldogs.
like 75-yard touchdown first play of the game?
Sure,
He
I'll
takes
go
off.
with that. And that's all they get.
That's it. They're done. Shut him down the rest of the way.
No, I think Trinidad Chambliss is a good enough quarterback. They might be able to put up some points. But they're gonna ask him to put up a like greatest game that we might have ever seen out of a college quarterback. Like they're gonna need that from him, I believe. And I just don't think he has that in him.
And so we head on to another blowout, probably Miami, Ohio State. That game could be bug meets windshield.
The problem is, we saw Miami put up an absolute clanker of a performance against
Stupid
Texas
clankers.
A&M. And Texas A&M's defense is not that good. So if Miami is doing this against A&M, what do you think they're going to do against the best defense in the
I,
entire country? Nothing.
Second best.
No, they're the
yeah,
best.
Second best.
second best.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
This, the stats say they're the best, but on paper, they might be the second best. Everything I read,
Yeah, it's
you gotta get
just
your stats checked.
it's just gonna be a bad. It's just, oh man. I am not one to like Carson Beck as a quarterback. I've had this discussion with these guys outside the podcast on I just don't think he's the greatest quarterback, and I think it's really gonna show this time.
Yeah, I think Miami does. The problem here is I think Miami does have the talent to like hang in a game with Ohio. I just don't think they have the ability on the field to actually do it. Like on paper, in terms of like blue chip guys, they could maybe do something here. Like they beat a team like Notre Dame. They can play against big time opponents. But with what we saw last week, it does not inspire anything out of you. Like for Miami to pull this upset off, I think you're going to need to see a completely new Miami team. I like it's not the same Miami that shows up for this next game. If they're going to win. I think it's going to have to be a lot of like miracle, massive plays from like guys like Fletcher, guys like Malachi Tony taking off because he's electric when he gets the ball in his hands. But can Carson Beck get the ball to his hands against Ohio State's defense? I just don't think he's going to be able to. I mean, let's call it what it is. This is 31-6 Ohio State. This is Ohio
Except, are they
State.
gonna be able to make those two field goals, or is that a missed extra point?
Ooh, that might be a missed extra point. We saw their kicking last game.
touchdown in the missed
There was
extra
high
point.
winds. There was high winds, guys. Okay,
This is
let's.
true.
And
Uh,
and the Cotton Bowl's inside, so he's
it's
not gonna have to
inside.
worry about the wind. He's gonna be
Hey,
fine. He's gonna be fine.
we have not seen Carson Beck in the college football playoff on Miami's team in a dome.
We just gotta wait for him to be in a dome, and he might be the best quarterback we've ever seen, guys.
We haven't
Yeah,
seen it yet.
We're
you
just waiting
never
for it.
know.
Yeah, Jeremiah Smith's going to have two different 50-yard touchdown plays. I'm calling that.
And Carnell Tate's gonna get at least one.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's briefly talk about the NFL over this weekend. A lot of people have clinched their playoff spots, and one of the most crucial games was the Bears versus Green Bay. Had one of the craziest endings in probably that rivalry's history, with DJ Moore catching a 46-yard bomb
Oh
just
man,
right in the bucket.
I was in a hotel room, and it's not a game I actually care about, and that made me audibly scream. It like an insane game, just and somehow this game, Phil's second best game of the weekend in the NFL. Like
This,
that's how awesome this week was in the NFL. Truly, I think it was a great week, and this was the second best game of the day, or not the day of the week.
yeah. Seahawks Rams was just a
Yeah,
masterful game.
yeah.
Absolutely zero
Stay on topic
defense
first.
being played. But
We'll get to that game.
so let's stick with the Bears.
Yeah.
That onside kick,
Oh man,
absolutely incredible
Onside kick. Oh
to
man.
get the ball back.
how did they not recover
I
that
don't
though?
know. I don't even know. But it was on the ground. All I
The
see is
spin on
a
that ball
lot
must
of
have been
Bears,
insane.
a
Just
lot of
the spin.
Packers, and then somehow the Bears have the football, and it's just like, what? They have a chance. And then
I will
Caleb Williams putting the team on his back.
the cardiac Bears. I mean, they keep pulling out games at the end of it. But let's not forget Malik Willis played most of this game, and he didn't just play; he played really well.
He played
He
better
was
than
9
Jordan
for
Love.
11, 121 yards and a touchdown as the backup. He balled out. Are you worried a little bit with that because for the Bears defense in the future? But then again, they also only got 16 points, so somehow they were still able to like contain the drives, and they contained Josh Jacobs also really well. I thought that was impressive.
Here's my thing. I think this game, and this might be just a crazy outlandish take. I think this game happens the exact same way with or without Jordan Love because the Bears defense is prepared for Jordan Love and not Malik Willis. Malik Willis is a completely different quarterback from Jordan Love, and Jordan Love, they're prepared for. Malik Willis, they were not prepared for the quarterback keep. That's not something Jordan Love usually ever does.
Ever.
He's a thrower at heart, and he doesn't like to run that much. And Malik Willis, they just weren't prepared for him. And
Yeah.
that running game, it just kept getting down to the red zone and is stalling out. So and after in the interviews, Ben Johnson was saying we were talking about red zone defense the entire time. So that's what they were prepared for. They just were not ready to stop them before they got to the red zone, which is just crazy because yeah, maybe stop them before they get to the red zone. Then you don't have to worry about red zone defense. But it's allowed.
Yeah, I this was an awesome, absurd matchup between the two of them. I think I think we are headed towards a lot of years of really good Packers Bears games. It's been a lot of Packers just dominating them for a while. Ben Johnson hates Matt LaFleur. He despises that man. I don't know if you watch whenever they like do the handshake. Ben Johnson cannot stand Matt LaFleur. I don't know why. I don't know what happened there. I'm not gonna like guess on that, but I think we're going to have a great Bears Packers rivalry for the next like 5 years. I think the Bears are back and set in a spot where they're going to be competitive. And I think this rivalry is going to become more of a 50-50 rivalry all of a sudden.
And so briefly, let's talk about very quickly Rams Seahawks. Absolute crazy shootout game. The 2 point that wasn't is what
Oh,
happened there. I mean, it's just a crazy game. Goes to overtime. Seahawks get the 2 point conversion to win it.
Yeah,
yeah.
just
Okay.
you can go first, Campbell. I went
All right.
first last time. You go
All
first.
right. First thing on this, have you ever I'm not sure they got that 2 point conversion rule correct. I don't think you get to advance the ball on a fumble. I think it's spa the fumble, isn't it?
But
Is the rule not spa
it,
the fumble?
it was a backward pass, so the play was still alive.
Yeah. I
So like
get that part.
then the ball somehow was in the end zone, and when
The
you just
whistle
pick it
was
up,
blown also.
Yeah, that's the main thing is the whistle was blown. How can you?
I don't know.
The
That's
whistle was
close.
blown. It was not high awareness from Charbonnet to pick that ball up. He just picked it up for some
He
reason that
picked it
he
up
got lucky.
to hand it to the ref. That was the whole thing.
Yeah, like he just picked up the ball. Also, I'm still not certain you can fumble forwards. I thought the rules that you can't do that. I guess maybe the rules if it gets in the end zone, it's still a touchdown, even though you can't fumble forwards. But I thought it was spot of the fumble whenever it's a forward fumble.
Yeah, that was a crazy call. And of course, our producer Lane Emmenheiser is a big Rams guy himself, so he was very distraught in that moment. But this game was the best game I've watched all year in the NFL, and it wasn't for the defense. There
Yeah,
was zero
Isn't it?
defense happening in this game.
I I mean Puka Nakua single handedly won the week for me in fantasy. Also, I I think Puka Nakua needs to continue doing the controversy he's doing because ever since going controversial online, he's just unguardable completely. He needs to keep going on Aiden Ross's stream. And I'm not supporting that in terms of like anything like that. I'm just saying it's
That's
working for him
crazy.
football wise.
Maybe he just needs to go on more Twitch streams. I don't know what Puka Nacua needs to do, but he just needs to keep on doing whatever he's doing.
Needs
And
to keep tweeting about the refs.
the standings in the NFL are just up for grabs for playoffs wise. I mean, the the Bears could still get the number one seed. It's just
Uh, I think they might be the ones the least likely though to get it still.
no, if they win their last two and Seattle wins, just loses one. Just
Okay.
that's all that needs to happen is Seattle to lose one
Okay.
and them to win out. But
Niners control.
the Niners control their own destiny
Yeah.
because they play Seattle in the last week,
Yeah.
and that would put them. It's just it's so open. It's just something we haven't seen in a while is an open playoff. It just always feels like the Chiefs are at the top,
Well,
and then there's some random powerhouse of the year for the NFC that's at the top.
the one thing is that it's an open at the top. At the bottom, it's like nobody else is even like possibly can get in. It's almost locked to 7 on both squad. It's like I think the Colts have like a 5% chance to somehow make it if they win out and Texans lose out, and then still a little bit of like tiebreaker help also happens. There's like a lot of things they need still. I think the Lions have like a 10% chance to make it. It's not high. Like there's a lot of just it's almost 7 teams almost locked already.
And yeah, it's just absolutely insane. One funny thing that I'm going to point out before we wrap up, the Steelers, if they want to make the playoffs, they have to be the 4 seed because if they do everything that would execute them to be the 7 seed, they would just end up being the four
They
seed.
would still be the 4 seed, yeah.
So it's just, yeah, that's a crazy thing. But that's all from Inside the Playbook. Follow us on Instagram, follow us on Spotify, follow us on YouTube. We're gonna have a great time the rest of this semester, just wrapping up the end of these sports.
Have a Merry Christmas
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Have a Merry Christmas.
and a Happy Hanukkah.
Happy holidays.